It's been a while. Okay. Everyone uses social media, but the question over the last few days has been, is Elon Musk's Twitter tick worth paying for? As a whole, no. When you think about it, is it worth paying just for a tick? It doesn't make sense. So short form, no, it's not worth it. But what people aren't focused on is that he did mention that there are other benefits to the tick. The question isn't, is it worth it? Which is what everyone is asking and what everyone's talking about. It's what has driven this change for Musk in his first few days in charge of Twitter, that he's decided that he's going to charge people to use effectively their platform that they have been doing already. But why? Well, the takeover cost Elon $44 billion. $44 billion, which works out to be $54.20 a share, which is about 50 cents more than what the shares were selling for a few days before close. But you can't buy shares anymore because it's now more of a private company. And he has gotten rid of the board of directors. So yeah, that's a bit of an issue for the long-term future of the company, at least when you're thinking of financials. But speaking of financials, you have to think of the way the company has gone over the last 10 years. In the last 10 years, only 2 years Twitter has been profitable. Last year, even though it earned revenue of $5 billion, it actually made a loss of $220 million. At present, Twitter only has two revenue streams: advertisers and data licensing. And of that, 92% of their $5 billion came from advertising. And that's just not going to be sustainable for someone like Musk, who's trying to, I would assume, make money back on his deal now at this point. So in order to make money, he needs to take a look at what his users are. So at present, there are around 200 million daily users of Twitter, with around 38 million of those being in the US. And they market themselves as having 450 million daily monetizable active users. So I know numbers are a little bit skewed there, but that's, I guess people just want to try and earn as much money as they can. And of the users of Twitter, nearly 75% of them are aged between 18 and 44, whereas the younger age are spending their time on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, which can be seen by the fact that by users, Twitter is the 12th lowest used social media platform, making LinkedIn number 8, TikTok number 5, Instagram number 4, YouTube number 2, and Facebook number 1. Facebook has 2.9 billion users to YouTube's 2.5 billion. Even LinkedIn has 770 million users, which is roughly 500 million more than Twitter. That is a large number that needs to be dealt with over the coming weeks, months and years for Musk to try and get people onto the platform. But is his way of doing that at present with the monetization of the tick the best way to do that? I'm not inclined to think so. But at the same time, the way that he has chosen to sell this to people is by saying, you are purchasing the tick. But the purchase of the tick is not what really is the reason that people are going to choose to use this. He has said that alongside the $8 a month that is going to give you the tick, you will get priority replies, priority in mentions, and priority in search. All of which are things that people are generally kind of looking for if they're trying to grow on social media. You'll have the ability to post long form video and audio, which will allow content creators to actually share more of what they're doing with their audiences. Think more kind of Twitch and YouTube style, or maybe even go as long as 60 to 120 seconds to kind of compete with the Reel section of Instagram or TikTok as a platform. He has mentioned that his hope is to be able to generate a fund where they can then pay content creators who work with them. And if content creators make the shift from their current platforms over to Twitter, that would generate additional users, as seen from the numbers of people on YouTube and Twitch, TikTok, and all of those kind of platforms, there are outrageous number of users available. So it's just the question of how best to get them to come over to Twitter. And by utilising longer form auditory options and visual options is one way to do that. Musk is at present, with his ideas, showing a willingness to work with these kind of creators and provide more opportunities for users of the platform. As a whole as well, with less ads, which is one of the benefits. I'm surprised there's not no ads, but we'll come to that later on. Of course, the drawbacks of this idea is that you will end up with more spam accounts, more bots. At present, it is estimated somewhere between 9 and 15% of Twitter accounts are bots. But if you're dealing with someone who's pretending to be another person and they have the tick and the other person doesn't, how can you possibly rely on that efficiently? So fake news may spread more. You may end up with people who are trying to scam others out of money become more successful in their endeavours. And just as a whole, when you're told that the current celebrities who have it are repeatedly coming out and being like, we are not going to pay for this, the point is they're not paying because of the cost, they're paying because of the principle of it. Which had me thinking that if they, instead of introducing a Twitter Blue, which is what Elon is calling it according to Twitter and different options, is what if you had 3 tiers, with the first tier being free, or for example what I would use on a daily basis, or anyone else who uses Twitter, where they just access their tweets. And then another tier which would be for the public figures or the celebrities, where they can still have their tick, maybe for $1 or $2 a month fee, and that fee just gives them their tick. If someone is interested in avoiding the principle, which I believe is the reason that people aren't paying, because it was free at one point in time, and if Musk feels that this is something that is a chargeable asset for him, so he will continue to charge for it regardless of what other people think. I think a smaller price point to just provide a tick is a better option than trying to force people who want to have the tick to have to pay the $8 to have all these other benefits. Then by having the base tier, a tier just for a tick, and then a third tier, the third tier will have all the benefits that he has just mentioned and provide a slightly different tick, either a different colour, maybe a different shape, a different shade, anything like that. Just something that is different from the ticks will provide an additional tier of people to be able to purchase it for. So for example, like if Barack Obama, who is the highest followed account on Twitter with around 130 million followers, if he wants to still have people know that it's him who's tweeting when they see a Barack Obama account, then he can pay $1 or $2 a month, have the tick, and everyone knows that it's valid and that it's him. But then if someone else wants to create an account and be able to be seen higher up in searches, or have less ads, or post longer form video, they can pay a higher price point. If he wants to stick around the $8 a month, that's fine. And then while additionally Twitter will probably have less of an income due to the fact that they're going to have 2 different revenue streams, they will at the same time have 2 different revenue streams. So in one fell swoop, he's doubled from his previous 2 of being advertising and data licensing to 4: data licensing, advertising, tier 1 and tier 2, and then tier 3 being the users who don't want to pay for anything. In the same way that Twitch have their different tiers for subscribers, and YouTube used to have their YouTube Red, now they've got their YouTube Premium. All of these platforms that tend to have content creators on them do have multiple ways for revenue to be earned. I think that by having the different options of tiers, Musk and the rest of Twitter as a whole are showing their users that it is important to them to tackle fake news and validity and people to be who they are, and that they will only provide the lower tier, the $1 to $2, for people who then go on to prove they are who they say they are. So again, using the Barack Obama example, he will get his tick once it is verified that it is him. Or if someone already has the tick, they just simply pay the price and they get their tick. The advantage of having the $2 a month price point, or even the $1 a month price point, is you can offer to charge annually and just give a slight reduction. So $10 or $20 for these people for the year is of course pittance. As a whole, that isn't a high value at all. But if you're asking someone to pay $96, effectively $100, to show that they are who they say they are, alongside the other benefits that they probably don't need. It's just not going to be feasible. Whereas the opportunities given by having the two different options, I think, you know, shows a willingness on his part to work with the people who use the platform. And hopefully that people, you know, continue to use it and more go to it. As a whole, I don't agree with the idea behind charging for the tick, but it is a genius marketing strategy to use that as the selling point for all these media outlets and news outlets and everyone to discuss. Because that's what he said in his first tweet. Charging for the tick. But that's not what it is. It's all the benefits that he's giving are what give the price point that it has. And initially starting it at $20 and dropping it to $8, that was probably the intention the whole time. He was never going to charge $20 to be $240 for someone to show that they are who they say they are. He has shown numerous times that he does know how to manipulate markets and basically just use the internet to his advantage, which is something that he has done. But what do you think? Do you think that people should pay for the tick? Should they have the implemented tiered system, as I've mentioned? Or should they just leave it as it is and just hope they get enough off advertisers and data licensing? I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer, but to Elon there definitely is an answer, and probably to the rest of his team. But yeah, so that's kind of Musk's ideas on Twitter and where they're coming from, all wrapped up in one. So hope you found that interesting. Poppy!